Showtime. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show. Our guest tonight is a member of America's longest running band. The band Exile has put up some pretty impressive numbers over the years. 11 #1 hits, over 8 million albums sold, and 2023 marks the 60th anniversary since the band's inception.
Yeah.
Please welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show accomplished songwriter and bassist, Sonny LeMaire. Sonny, we are so happy to have you on the show tonight. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rosie and Bill. Nice to be with you today, this evening.
Yeah. Well, it's our pleasure, Sonny. And, Rosie just touched on a few things that we're going to come back and visit in terms of some questions that we have for you, because we've got a lot of them. But I thought, first things first, what we'd like to know is, how have you and your bandmates managed to stay together as long as you have? And are there any special plans for the band's 60th birthday next year?
Well, that's a great question. Yes, there are quite a few plans for the 60th, and we'll touch on that. As far as longevity and staying together, it has been a process, like any family. And we are a family now, after all these years. You fight, you make up, sometimes you break up for a little bit, get back together, which we've done, through the years. And, the bottom, I think the glue that really holds us all together really is that we really like one another and care for one another. And I mean, if it wasn't for that, it would have been over a long time ago. There's a real genuine care, and there's a real genuine feeling of musicality, joint musicality. Then we all like the same kind of things, growing up, the same kind of music. So all that has helped us, achieve this, where this year, 59 years, and knock on wood, next year, 60 years.
Wow. Yeah, I imagine there would have to be a lot of love and respect.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of ups and downs, along the way. And we've had some real tough times, rocky times. And it was a real test to, how we felt about one another, to stay together and pull it together. But, we've managed.
Well, we're glad you did.
Me too.
Now I want to go back in 1978.
Yeah.
You released one of my personal favorites, Kiss You All Over.
Yeah.
Which I have to tell you, I have no problem saying that is a very sexy song. It's a great slow dance song.
Yeah, it is that.
Did you imagine, because there was a lot of time between when the band first started and when you had that hit.
Oh, yeah.
Did you
Absolutely.
imagine that it would become the mega hit that it did become?
Well, you dream of having a song like that could propel you, to having a hit record. I mean, that's every guy or girl's dream. And, when they start out like this, I mean, to say it took us by surprise is an understatement. And I'll give you an example. In our shows prior to the song being released, we wrote a lot of our own songs, and we weren't the kind of band that could just play every kind of bar or club or whatever, because they wanted a lot of cover songs, which we didn't play hardly at all, played originals. So we had a tough time at, occasionally, getting work. So when we were playing and people were used to the things we were writing, when we would play Kiss You All Over, when we started playing it before it was released to radio, there would be silence in the audience. I mean, there was no reaction. I mean, none. which was chilling. And it was really kind of freaky, and to the point where, as it was getting ready to be released, we were questioning whether it would be that song or this other song that was on the album at the time. And we were really concerned. And then as soon as it started playing on the radio, as soon as it just flipped. It went from silence to everybody, wild applause and, everything else that goes along with a hit record. So it was a real journey, from no hits, no nothing, to a song coming out and scared to death that it's not going to do anything because there's no crowd reaction, to an amazing crowd reaction. But it was really amazing and a great journey.
As you're saying that, I'm trying to process in my mind, okay, what would cause people to not react to that song? And I'm thinking, okay, it's so good. They they're stunned and they're just enjoying it, or I don't know.
I'd like to think it was because they were stunned because it was so great, but I don't think, at the time, I'm not sure that was the case. It was just
was
so
it a little
different.
too racy? Like, it was a little
maybe I think it was just so different. Because the song itself, the title, and we played a lot of really up-tempo stuff, and it was kind of a mid thing. So, but the bottom line is again, as soon as it was played on the radio, everything changed, and it was just it was gangbusters, from the get-go.
Yeah, and Rosie mentioned about how she said it was really a sexy song, and I believe, according to Billboard magazine, it's in the top 10 of sexiest songs of all time. So she's not the only one. There's a lot of other people out there.
Yeah.
Plus, it was literally one of the biggest hits of the decade.
Yeah, it was. It absolutely was. And again, starting out, having a dream of having anything to get played on the radio was seemed like almost impossible. And that song has just had a life of its own. And to this very day, when we still play it, and of course we do, obviously, in our shows, the reaction is still amazing.
If I came to your concert and you didn't play that song, I'd be very upset with you.
If we didn't play it, we would have lost our minds. Okay. We have to play it, of course.
Definitely. Well, so then after that, in the 80s, you changed your course a little bit. You started to focus on country music, and Abracadabra, 10 number one hits.
Yeah. How
did you feel about that? Obviously that was a good decision.
Well, yeah, it turned out to be a really good decision. After Kiss You All Over, we released 3 more pop albums, and some really good songs on those albums, but they weren't having any traction here in the States. But we were having success in Europe, in Germany and France and really around the world. So we were touring there. We're still touring in the US, but we just weren't having the radio hits anymore. And we were writing songs that country artists were starting to record, and then they were starting to have big hits with it. For example, 2 of the biggest songs, Take Me Down and The Closer You Get, huge number ones for Alabama. We wrote those songs, and they were released. Both of those songs were released in 1980 on a pop album, both to radio, to pop, and did nothing. So anyway, and we were having a lot of album cuts. So our manager in LA called a meeting. We were all living in Lexington, Kentucky at the time. And he said he's flying in and he wants to talk to us about something. And I think we had been dropped by Warner Brothers in LA. And he said, you guys, because of your, growing up history association with country music and folks, and he said the songs that you're writing are starting to be recorded, and artists are having hits with your songs. He said it wouldn't be a stretch for you guys to be in country music and record your own stuff, write it, and have hits that way. And at first, I didn't I couldn't see the logic in it. I mean, me. The other guys, I think, were a little warmer to it. I just thought, nah, this is no. But as he talked and kind of the discussions went on over a couple of days, I said, well, okay, maybe so, maybe so. So we set about, that path to getting into Nashville, finding a record producer, getting a record label. And then, lo and behold, we started having hits in country radio, and that was a great ride too. That was an amazing experience.
Well, there's another aspect of your career too, and we touched on it there when you were talking about the hits that were recorded by Alabama.
Yeah.
But Sonny, there's some other hits that you've written.
Yes.
Beautiful Mess, Diamond Rio.
Yeah.
When She Cries, Restless Heart. She Thinks She Needs Me, Andy Griggs. I mean, I could go on.
Yeah.
But one of the things I'm wondering is when you're writing a song, is there a process for determining whether or not, hey, this is an Exile song versus maybe this is better suited for someone else?
Well, I write primarily for the band. And, sometimes, band dynamics being what they are, even though we care about one another, we're brothers, so to speak, we always don't see eye to eye when it comes to songs. And for example, you mentioned When She Cries, or Restless Heart. I had written that and recorded it, did a demo, and I had it on a cassette. And we were on the bus, and I said, guys, I got a new song I want to play for you. Okay, all right. So I put it in the cassette player, and they listened to it. And then one of them said, after the song was over, and I was watching, and there was not much of a reaction when it was playing the demo. And one of the guys said, man, I don't think that's for us. And I mean, I was kind of, hurt a little bit over it, and said, okay, I got up, took the cassette tape out, and it wasn't several months later, Restless Heart cut the song. And of course, what happened with that. And I mean, things like that just happen.
Let me ask you this. What was the knee-jerk reaction when they had a big hit with it within your band?
Well, it was tough, because here I am having all that success, financial success, plus it's all over the radio. And so I'm thrilled to death. I'm just over the moon about it, but I can't be too exuberant about it and just keep rubbing it in. I didn't want to do that.
Right.
So I was kind of calm around the band. Of course, when I wasn't in the band, I was jumping up and down, excited about it.
But did they ever come to you and say, geez, maybe we should trust your intuition more about this kind of stuff?
The funny thing is, now when I have a new song, teasingly, I'll say, hey guys, I got a new song. You want to listen to it? We might ought to record this. And fortunately we do.
Yeah. And I know when I was, I've got the CD Restless Heart's Greatest Hits, that's on there. Yeah. And, listened to it for years. And I went to YouTube the other day. I said, let me take a look at that video. I haven't seen that video for a while. Yeah. 20 some million views later on the video.
Yeah. If you've got the greatest hits, there's a song, depending which greatest hits you have, the last song on the CD is called Somebody's Gonna Get That Girl. And I wrote that too with my pal, Mark Beeson, and his wife, Joni Chapel Beeson. And Ronnie Millsap cut it. I mean, it's one of my favorite songs. And I thought it was going to be a single, but unfortunately it wasn't. But still, I have another Restless Heart cut and a Millsap cut as a result of it, and really proud of it.
Let me ask you this, because obviously you really have a great affinity for your brothers in the band.
Definitely.
Can you share with us maybe some of your favorite moments over the years? Favorite memories?
Well, certainly when Kiss You All Over was blowing up the charts, just that feeling of, after all the struggles, finally we've done it. We did it. That feeling of brotherhood, that after all that hard work, we were starting to see the success as a result of it. I'll never forget that. I mean, that's, in my brain forever.
What a testament that is, Sonny, excuse me for interrupting you, but
Sure.
to not giving up.
Well, I'll tell you guys this, and we in the band, we've had this discussion a lot. We're all parents, we're all grandparents. And in our band, we never had a plan B, ever. To make it in this business, you have to be so single-mindedly focused, come hell or high water. And most people, 99% of the people pursuing the dream that I had are never going to make it. And that's the reality of it. But we never had a plan B. I mean, it was guns a-blazing. We're going to do this no matter what. But as a parent, I would never, and I never did tell my kids, I wouldn't tell my grandkids this either, you need a plan B, get an education, do something else. But we didn't, and
Sonny, I think that is a common bond with so many performers, groups, individual artists that are successful, is that there was no plan B.
There wasn't.
And, there's a lot of overnight sensations that were 20 years in the making.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly right. You got to be focused and determined. But, I can tell you this, as a songwriter and performer, I've had more failures than successes. I mean, we've been really lucky. We've had some really amazing successes, but I've had a lot more failures. And that's just the way it is. And you got to get used to it too.
You just brought up something, Sonny. Just a question comes to mind with that. As a songwriter. It's kind of a two-sided question. Have you ever written a song that you thought for sure this is going to be a hit and it bombed? And on the flip side, have you ever written one that you were like, I don't know, and then boom, it takes off?
Well, yes, to both, really, I think. I wrote a song with a buddy of mine that we've written a lot of songs together, a great songwriter named Clay Mills. I mean, he's had Darius record cuts, and he's a great songwriter. We wrote a song with a young artist named Shelley Fairchild. And Shelley had a song that we wrote with her called You Don't Lie Here Anymore. And it was released on I forget what record label she was on, but it was the same label that Miranda Lambert was on. And it was released the same day. And Shelley is dark haired, Miranda was blonde, and nothing, taking nothing away from Miranda Lambert at all. But this song, I mean, I thought we had a real shot because it was a heck of a song, man. And I thought it was really going to do it for her. And I was disappointed, obviously myself, but I was really disappointed for her because she, to this day, I mean, she's great and she plays around Nashville, and giving her a little plug here, but that's one of those things where I thought, boy, this song has a real chance. I thought it might. And as far as a song that, well, I don't know how this is going to go. That one's kind of tough because every song that I write that's cut, I mean, I have the highest hopes for. I mean, I don't want to be arrogant about it and think, oh, this is a #1 song. I would never do that. You can't predict that. You can think, I think this is really good, and I think it's got a really good shot. But to say, this is a surefire hit, I can't go that far. I never would go that far,
The odds of writing a #1 song are so low when you think about how many songwriters there are out there. That accomplishment alone is monumental. And the fact that you have all done it 11 times, I mean, that's just really incredible. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
That needs to be said.
it honestly staggers, the imagination. And I sometimes I still can't believe it. We have our songs and we play our songs and I play them. And sometimes I have to stop and think, we wrote this stuff and it's what I always wanted to do. And the fact that it ever got played on the radio was a miracle. in the first place. The stars have to line up for that even to happen, like you say, let alone for a #1 hit. So if it happens, it's amazing, and I'm so grateful for the success we've had.
Definitely.
Well, it sounds like from what we've heard, Sonny, there might be a new holiday themed Christmas song in the works.
Well, now that you mentioned, yeah, during the pandemic, we wrote an entire Christmas project called Joyful Noise. And it contains 8 new songs, original tunes. Last year, we released the title song, Joyful Noise. It was late in the season, so it didn't have much exposure. We did a video for that. Really happy about it. But since then, we have written 2 more Christmas. Well, we have written 1 more Christmas song and recorded another. But the song in question that's going to be released November 11th with a video is called Lovin' Little Christmas Night. And I'm really happy with it. And it will be included on the new packaging of Joyful Noise. So that's coming out November 11th. Very excited about that.
Well, we're excited too.
And, you know, and for the 60th anniversary, JP and I, we've been writing via Zoom for an entire new project coming out next year. And we have the title song written and recorded. It's going to be the title of the tour, the title of the project. It's called A Million Miles Later. And I'm really excited about it. It's pretty cool.
I love the title.
Thank you.
That's
Thanks.
great.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back when it's done.
Yeah,
Please.
there's so many more things I want to ask you, like
Sure.
but we're going to wrap it up in a minute, but
Yeah.
where, if you can say this, you know, somewhat briefly, where do you draw your inspiration from when you're writing?
Well, you know, you probably have interviewed, you know, artists, songwriters or songwriters before, and like they'll tell you, you know, you learn to keep your antenna out. And, you know, whether it's you're reading something, you overhear a conversation, or during a conversation with somebody, something happens in a movie. I mean, the title Beautiful Mess, by the way, was in a movie that I saw. And I can't tell you the name of the movie. I can't recall that, but I remember when it was said, you know, like, oh, I got to remember that. I got to remember that. So, you know, those kind of phrases, hooks, as we call them, I'm always on the lookout for that. And, you know, most of the time when writing a song, we start with that. I mean, sometimes it's a musical hook, but more, you know, 99% of the time for us, it's some kind of a phrase that ignites something, you know, that propels a song. So that's how we do it.
Well, Sonny, I have to tell you, you've got that part when it comes to hooks down. I mean,
Thank you. Thanks,
you know,
guys. Thank you.
Every Exile song and every song you've written for other artists, you hear it once, it's not getting out of your head for a while. It's going to stay there.
Should I apologize? I hope not.
No.
Good.
No.
Good.
No, because the last couple days I've been bouncing back and forth in my mind between Beautiful Mess, because I love Diamond Rio and the harmonies in that song.
Me too.
And When She Cries, Restless Heart, you know, so again, no disrespect to Andy Griggs. I did, you know, re-listen to
Andy.
that.
Yeah.
But just all great stuff and incredible hooks. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Got that part down.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And Sonny, I'll tell you what, like we said, when the new project celebrating the 60th birthday is done, we'd love to have you back, but we've absolutely loved having you on with us here tonight. It's been a thrill and an honor to have you here on the show. We wish you all the best with the new Christmas song, all the best with the 60th birthday tour, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. It's my pleasure, and I look forward to doing this again when the project comes out next year.
That's terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Folks, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
It's more than the rustle of pretty paper, more than the ringing of a bell, more than the laughter of of little children. It's all of these things and something else. It's more than the silence of snowflakes falling, caught on the tip of your tongue. It's the feeling of home this time of year, a voice that calls to everyone.
It's a symphony of memories playing deep inside of me. Takes me back to when I used to be young. It's a joyful noise, joyful noise, a joyful noise.
It's not only the embers in the fireplace or the crackling of the flame that keeps us warm. It's the sound of someone loved you've been missing, when you hear their footsteps walking to your door.
It's a symphony of memories playing deep inside of me. Takes me back to when I used to be young. It's a joyful noise, joyful noise, a joyful noise.
The greatest gift we can give to someone else is the story of Jesus we tell.
It's a joyful noise, joyful noise, joy.